Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we have a banger matchup, day number 2, SK versus ZETA. I'm going to be running it through for you guys, and of course, after watching it in person, looking at the drafts and everything else. Of course, still, I'm in Finland right now, getting ready for the grand finals, which will be in a few hours' time, but of course, we've got to stay on the grind. So I had to show this game because literally, it gave me goosebumps. I don't want to ruin it for anyone that's not watched it. And of course, if you haven't watched day 2, I highly recommend. There's pretty much, well, I'd say 2 to 4 games were really good. I want to showcase Elevate versus Crazy Raccoon at a later date as well. But of course, right now we've got SK Gaming versus ZETA. Of course, you guys know ZETA, former world champions from last year. SK Gaming, they've got an elite roster. Not really performed as well as they should have all year, but still, of course, how can you deny Yoshi, Joker, and Linane? Of course, absolutely insane. So we have Knockout out in the open straight away. I was surprised that, to be honest, SK didn't go Angelo. Personally, I really like Angelo on this map. Of course, he got the water. He's really good at just escaping death with the jump. Of course, the poison can do a lot of damage. And he secretly got a buff with the last update, being able to cycle super with 2 shots. And then I was actually a little bit surprised by Meg. I know it's a very decent brawler in Knockout, especially considering they're scared of facing, I don't know, like Kenji or anything aggro. So that's why we kind of seen the Meg. We're not really seeing that too much in the meta nowadays since the HP nerf. But it's definitely a brawler that ZETA like. Gus as well. We've seen a lot of Gus in the monthly finals. So, you know, I have been saying that Gus has been a good brawler. And the pros just seem to absolutely love him, especially in drafts. So with SK with the next 4-5 pick, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what they went or what I would have gone. Let's just see. They go with a Lola. So the reason why they go to Lola, if you're interested, is because Lola's probably the best counter to make. And especially because Lola's got decent range, you know, and she's just a good brawler in draft. Not many brawlers really hold counter her. I'd say the only like proper big counters to Lola are like Penny, like Belle, who can really just annoy the ego. And then, of course, SK have last pick. So they've got to be a little bit careful here because they don't want to be too vulnerable against last pick like Kenji, last pick aggro. So they go with the Kenji themselves. So I think that was pretty decent. But again, I think ZETA have prepared the draft really well here with the Meg. Meg's going to be really good into that Kenji or into anything else. And then, of course, ZETA themselves, they could go with something aggressive. I think off the top of my head, you've got to go something that can either deal with a Kenji, you know, RT's banned, so you can't really go anything like that. I was actually thinking of 8-bit. It wouldn't have been like the craziest play, but you do need something high DPS to deal with that Kenji and at least get some pressure onto the Gus and everything else because you don't want to get outranged the whole game. So we go with the Daryl themselves. Daryl is just still an exceptional brawler in this meta, mainly because of the fact that you just get 2 rolls. It's just so much invincibility. So we're going to have to skip by just a little bit here because if you guys didn't know, when there's a brawler with the hypercharge, which is in the new update, Daryl hypercharge is brand new. They actually have to like back out of game. They've got to move their hypercharge button like all the way off the screen, and then they've got to re-enter the draft. So that's just one thing to bear in mind and why it takes a little bit longer for the players to get into game. So in terms of draft, I actually really favor the ZETA draft just because they've got Angelo and Daryl for the later engagement. You know, Kenji's going to really struggle to go in against an Angelo. You know, Angelo, of course, deals high damage. I know Kenji has the gadget, but there's that. Meg has a lot of survivability with the gadget and everything else. And that is an insane super from Naui. Like, I remember seeing that, and I was just like, that's crazy. Like, the timing, that is how you counter Kenji perfectly. You've got to know where he's about to land when he uses a super, and you just got to get him straight away. So he hasn't got a chance to pop his gadget, you know, enable his star power, etc. So really well played from ZETA. Of course, ZETA just fully locked in right now. Gerald's just going to go around with the pinch. They're going to go for the Meg, and ZETA just know that beautifully. That was just so well timed. Great from Naui. He can cycle through to his super as well. Absolutely perfect. So again, with SK, I just really struggle how they're going to make this work. They need to get a kill early. Yoshi's going to get pinched really early here. Great play from Meow. Nice and aggressive. ZETA again, just go into their faces. There's nothing that SK can really do here. ZETA just played that perfectly. And yet they just swiped the floor with them. At this point, people around me are saying, oh, ZETA are just different. You know, they're just different beasts. It was, I don't know, maybe SK just started things slow. I just kind of question, again, why they let ZETA get the Angelo. Like, Gus is good, but Angelo is just a sniper that is rarely good against assassins, and that's just so good in the draft. You know, you've got the jumper as well to get away. You've also got the fact that normally Angelo is the first brawler just to get up and get that first shots, which can enable pressure. Lane really tries to mount the pressure here, but ZETA just aren't having any of it. Jera's able to get some good snipes in. Again, now he's just going to wait to build up that super. I mean, typically, if I was SK, especially when you're facing off against Daryl in Knockout, you've got to try and strike early because it takes 30 seconds to get that Daryl roll. So if you can pinch a Daryl, get him weak, you know, Daryl has no range. That is the way to counter Daryl early on, you know, once he builds up that super. And you've got a really capable player like Naui, you know, he's never going to be without super, if you get what I mean. And that's just what makes Daryl absolutely beautiful. Being able to just roll twice onto people is just pretty much a no-brainer. So you've got Yoshi here, which isn't really, he's not able to do anything really against any of these. It's kind of down to Joker and Lane to try and get some good kills. I mean, Yoshi is tapping though. This can secretly build up a lot of damage. Lane's going to start to go in here. His star power is going to be clutch, especially against that Angelo. As you can see, Angelo just deals no damage there. Good super from Jero, maybe a little bit too close. Now he's going to wait and use his super so slow. And what I just love about ZETA, if you just rewatch a few of those knockout games, I just love how well positioned they are. It looks absolutely chaotic, but it's just beautiful. It's so organized. The chemistry is just absolutely insane, and they can just walk through SK like that in the closing stages. So to be honest, I couldn't imagine how SK can win this. They need Lane to pop off. They need some aggression. They need to get ZETA into their spawn, and to be honest, it just looked like a bit of a mismatch. Like, I don't know, SK just didn't seem to come out the gates firing. I know the draft isn't like optimal in my eyes, but I just think they kind of took a while to get into the game. But great from Lane there. It's finally starting to get some good pressure. Again, it is pretty difficult when you've just got a Meg just deleting you the entire time. Great play from Naui right there. Really well timed. A good super from Yoshi. And finally, SK start to get a bit of momentum going. Jero with a wasted hypercharge there, and probably a wasted gadget as well. I'm not too sure why he opted to use that, to be honest. But again, I think that could have definitely cost Jero. I can't remember whether it actually does or not, but with the hypercharge, again, that's just so good with Angelo, especially for pressure. You're able to actually just close people down, heal up as you're going. So now I think SK do sense a little bit of blood here. They can definitely turn the tides here. You've got Lane with a super. Of course, with Kenji, you probably want to wait and try and make sure you have that super for the final circle. That's just how things go in Knockout, because players are just so good. It's just, of course, really hard to kill pro players. It ends up going towards the end stages of the Knockout. The gas closes in, and that's when you see the action happen. So a Kenji super is just so good in that moment, because you're just able to cycle it. You're able to just get a clean connection every single time. So Lane's going to get pinched down there. I saw the play. Meg was low. He got some good pressure onto Angelo, but I think maybe just a bit too aggressive right there. So now it's a 3v1 situation, and we know how this is going. ZETA, they're just going to close things down, and may as well just skip ahead because it's just absolutely impossible for Joker. So that's going to be the first set. Going to ZETA, very, very convincing draft, gameplay, synergy, everything going their way. So let's jump into the next set. Okay, guys, so now jumping into set number 2, we have Hot Zone dueling Beetles. So I would say this is a pretty good SK gaming map just from watching them throughout the years. We see a Nita ban, which I'm a little bit confused about. We see a Surge, Clancy, and a Mo. Also, just judging on the draft meta at the moment, because people are so scared of like the Kenji and other aggro brawlers like Frank. Clancy is becoming a very, very strong brawler in the draft. So absolutely, I would say if I was to update my tier list, you know, Clancy in B tier definitely is not right. I would say closer to the S tier. I would say that he probably is S tier right now in the draft. You know, I just knew that the pro players were just countering Clancy so easily like 2 months ago, and now all of a sudden they're figuring ways out. I mean, typically it's just on maps which you see a lot of aggression. So anywhere that like Gale's good, Clancy's going to be good, because stage 3 Clancy is so incredibly strong. So we go with a Gale first pick. We've seen ZETA go this against Luminosity on stream and B. It seemed to work out. He's just a really good Kenji counter, for example. So that's why they've gone with the Gale. Just speaking to Patchy and Drage right next to me on whilst watching this, and that's just even better to understand the draft. These two are like just draft kings in terms of things, so I just learned so much from them. So the reason why, because Kenji's like the best brawler, you don't really want to first pick Kenji, right, most of the time, because there are counters to him. Like, you could go like double tank counter and you would end up being screwed. So that's why then you see SK, it's much better to go Kenji's second pick, because then you can back it up with a tank counter for yourself. Lu is pretty good. I still don't really like Lu. Normally in the draft meta, I prefer a Lu as a later pick, because if you think about it, Lu's only really good against tanks or just anything that's got a lot of HP. So you can build up your super cycle and get a lot of zone time. But as you can see, like Lily, it is okay for Lu. It's going to be pretty difficult with a fast movement speed and just a constant gadget spam. So yeah, Lu doesn't have that quick burst to take down that Lily. And then I'm trying to think what ZETA can go off the top of my head. I'm just going to respond to what they pick and then what I probably would have picked instead. So yeah, Lily, underrated pick, especially considering you've just got so much area control. And they go with the Larry. I mean, you can't really go wrong again for Larry. Like, good into Lu, good in, well, decent into Kenji, especially if you switch over to the reload star power. You're able to get a lot of damage into Kenji, because Kenji hasn't got a lot of DPS, right? So it takes him a while to take down the Lori bot. And then with SK, they do need something with a little bit of control, well, a little bit of aggression, but a bit of control as well. They can't really go with like a sniper or anything squishy because of the thrower and the Lily as well. So they'll go with the Cordelius. This is a really great pick. We know from years of watching Joker, he's an exceptional Cordelius. He's able to control the game pretty easily. We don't really see Cordelius too much in competitive at the moment. There's just better brawlers out there that can cycle, hype charges, etc. a bit easier. But in Dueling Beetles, the reason why Cordelius is just so good, you've got the jump gadget to take down any throwers, just like the twins there. You've also got the fact that Cordelius can be really good at shutting down the likes of Lily. So I don't know, I still liked ZETA's draft, to be honest. I wasn't fully convinced with the Lu pick, just because, you know, looking at those brawlers, how is Lu going to get super is really going to be down to whether Joker and Lane can get the pressure and basically distract the ZETA guys, and then Lu can somewhat kind of try and build all that super. So you can see now he's just able to get through the middle so easily. Does mistime his super there. Joker with a really well timed gadget to get into his face, and then Jero's just doing Jero things. He does go for the mind control on the Lily. Well, not mind control, the Shadow Realm. So the reason being, because there's no point doing it to Larry, because how are you going to kill a Larry whilst in the Shadow Realm, right? You need to, I would say, go for the Gale. The reason why you want to do that is so then Kenji can advance onto the Larry and advance onto the Lily as well. Kenji would definitely have the matchup against that. So as long as Joker keeps forcing the matchup versus the Gale like it does right here, already got the Hype Charge super, is struggling a lot to take down a Gale. Probably didn't want to spend as much time taking him down there, but finally SK starting to get a bit of control. Lu super down, not getting the most value, but the good thing is about Lu, always, no matter what, a Lu super will always guarantee control. It will always be able to push the opponents into a certain situation, especially in hot zone. So forever, Lu will just be good in hot zone. It's game mode, right? So we see a lot of chaos going down right here. ZETA's starting to get a lot of control back. Joker, he's trying his hardest. He's managing to get a lot of zone time there for SK. Things are going down to the wire right here. Lane with a well-timed super. Jero's forced to pop his gadget. Then, I mean, now he gets the hype charge off, but it doesn't really get the most value. Lane gets a great kill onto Meow. This is like the messiest game of Dueling Beetles I've seen in a long time. Like, everyone is alive, but they're just all over the place. There's no idea what is going on here, but SK is just slowly getting that time down, and there's just not enough time to take down Joker, and he just stays alive on 240 HP. That was so incredibly close. Like, that was as clutch as it gets. I think maybe ZETA just kind of played that too perfectly in a way. They were like, they was sure they could get Joker down and then just close things off. They were really playing the clock, trying to play it in their favor, but they needed to go a bit faster. So the triple launch pad in there. Gerald pops gadget straight the way to get onto Yoshi. Really fair play. Also, Yoshi is using the, I don't even know what it's called, the freeze gadget. I don't know, like the one that stands still. I think that was a really big brain play. I remember seeing that in the first engagement. That is really good, just to get that extra bit of time, you know, especially against Lily. It wastes like the super and the 2-tap combination, because you can tank pretty much both of those because of Lily's quick unload speed. So Yoshi super straight away. Gyro's going to use gadget really aggressively to be honest, I kind of understand it. That's what I do a lot of the times. But with Lilies, I think the way that you got to play Lily is you have to use the gadget defensively to escape death a lot of the time. Like, I mean, that was a good gadget to try and get some good I mean, that was an amazing play right there. I mean, you can see he's trying to get as much aggression as possible. That was definitely well, like, that synergy was insane. If he meant that, that's just next level. So, yeah, Jero, I don't know, Jero's got a really tough matchup. Lily, you want to face off against squishy brawlers. He's managed to get a lot of pressure, but Joker with the hypercharge, just too good now. Lenin can just advance. Like, Kenji against Lily is just unfair. The healing, the super, the gadget, the star power, like Lily just have no match. Jero unfortunately misses out on the super, and the pressure is just going all towards SK. There's nothing that Zeta can do. Jero's done a really good job of staying alive here, keeping the pressure going. I mean, now he can get the kill onto Kenji, but it takes a lot of time for him to get the kill with a super. Joker with a really good super onto the Gale right here. Can he stay alive in time? Just 1% is all they need, and Lillian can just dash on in. So I personally just think that's an absolute Joker masterclass. The Cordelius, the way that you play Cordelius is making sure that you make great plays with a super, get the right person in, and if you can lock in that Gale like they did, it allows Lene to push forward, get his great matchups. That was just beautiful. That was goosebumps type of stuff. So that's going to be second set. Let's jump into number 3. All right, guys, jumping into set number 3 then. We have Brawl Ball Pinball Dream. So straight away, Zeta go with a Kenji. This is just how the draft's going. To be honest, like, the reason why Kenji is getting through is just because, for the most part, there's just better map-dependent brawlers. So, for example, as you can see, SK banned Surge, they ban Mo, and they ban Clancy, because these 3 brawlers are just so oppressive and just so good on this map. So they've got to ban those brawlers first. And that's why Kenji is slipping through. So, of course, Kenji is like the second best brawler in the game. But, you know, certain maps just develop different metas. So if you guys were wondering, of course, last pick as well. You've got the, like, you know, Joker's really good at Max. That's probably why I was banning Max. Larry's just really good as a late pick. And they go with Rico and Gale. So Gale, one of the best Kenji counters for sure. The reason being is because once Kenji's done finishing super in the air, you could, of course, Gale super, stun him into the wall, and one of the best ways to shut him down. Of course, you've got the tornado as well. You've got the hypercharge. That's why a lot of people go in Gale. Rico, I don't know, Rico's good, but I'm just unsure whether Rico's going to be good into Kenji myself, just from personal experience. I know it's so easy as a Kenji to kind of juke in and out of the Rico gadget. Of course, you've just, I know, Rico's squishy, so I personally just don't like going Rico into Kenji, but it is Pinball Dreams, and we've seen that it's one of the best Rico maps, especially with Hypercharge. So Stu has an exceptional matchup against Gale and against the Rico. That's one of the biggest counters to Rico is Stu, especially with the wall break, and just overall it's just an easy matchup for him, always has been. And Zeta have just been known for being really good at playing Stu, so this was quite a surprising pick to me. They go with the Primo. I kind of guess they just want to go with the run it down composition, but again, I was surprised. I don't know what they could have gone. Maybe they could have gone with like a Barley. I just don't know. The Zeta's composition is just so weird. I just didn't know how that will play out in my head. They go with a double aggro though into the Gale and the Rico, which already counter tanked, and then they go with the Colette. So again, I'm unsure what I would have really gone into that. Like, let's go into Primo. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I'll need to load up Brawl Stars to see if I can quickly look at a brawler selection and see if there was any better picks. But it's just so many brawlers and so many. I thought that was a better pick than Colette. Let's take a look. I mean, they could have gone. Let's see. I mean, Clancy was banned, so of course you can't go anything like that. Could have gone with maybe like Tara. Tara could have been pretty decent. I mean, Maisie could have been pretty underrated into that. I mean, pretty hard to play that against high mobility brawlers like the likes of Kenji though. I just don't know. I think that was a really good Primo pick. Maybe they could have gone like Daryl themselves. They could have gone with like even Shelly ahead of Colette. That's kind of what I was wondering, but they go with the Colette anyways. I'm just going to try and force the Gale onto the Kenji, the Colette onto the Primo. So the way that Zeta are playing this, they're just playing super aggressive. They're trying to get up into their spawn. The thing is, like, with SK's composition, they have no wall breaks. So Zeta can just use and abuse the walls as much as possible, get that positioning early on. Of course, the walls are going to benefit Rico and the Gale, but it's just all about map presence, especially on Brawl Ball. And brawlers like Kenji and Primo with super are eventually going to make their way in. So good super from Yoshi there. Now he manages to stay alive. Meow's going to use another super. Unsure about that one because he was pretty much dead anyways, but I guess he just tries to cycle his super and continue on in. Joker, a bit of, I mean, I don't think that was a great type charge, but I can see why he had to use it. You know, Jero was pressing in. You've also got Nari pressing in. Also, Jero, of course, can't use that hyper charge if you're wondering. Great double hyper charge super from Yoshi there. Goes further. The other one gets the double kill, and that's exactly what they needed because ZETA have just been pressuring SK literally the entire time, breathing down the neck, not giving them any space or time to do anything. Lenane with a great super there doesn't manage to get the kill onto Meow. And again, ZETA are just pressing in like crazy. Now, the way that he plays Brawl Stars is just perfect in my opinion. Like, he just plays everything textbook. Is just so good, able to just get pressure. Meow is just going to go in here now. Lenane's going to get a kill with the hyper charge. This is really well played from now. He does just miss out his super, but he's just still getting pressure and cycling like crazy. Jero's has been gliding the whole game. So going into overtime, in my mind, I think this is an easy SK win just because you've got Colette, you've got Gale, you've just got 2 tank counters. But again, you can't give position to ZETA here. Meow's going to pop hyper charge, not really get the most value, but in combination with Nawi, he's able to take that down. So no gadgets left on the side of Nawi. We've got Meow is in a good position though. 10 seconds left. Just get supered out. Great kill from Lenane. And now they need to go. They've got a Gale super here. They need to go, but great cleanup from Jero. He's playing things absolutely beautifully. And I just think that was rushed from Lenane personally. I think they should have probably bide their time a little bit because, you know, Colette's super overtimes are so good. That was a great super from Meow right there. Of course, Rico's not going to be the greatest in overtime. Lenane goes for the super, but a fantastic kill from Jero. That was absolutely beautiful. Yoshi as well going up. I think, again, a bit too rushed because now we've got 3 ZETA players breathing down SK's neck. Now he's just beautifully going in and out here. Great kill and great goal. That was perfect. The way that he plays Kenji is beautiful. You want to learn how to play Kenji, watch Nawi. That was insane. The timing, making sure to use the dash and the slash at the right moment. Again, personally, after watching that in the arena, I just think that was maybe a bit too rushed from SK. Just because, again, overtime, you've got Colette super, you've got... I guess this was a good kill from Jero, though, because Colette isn't good into the stew. I don't know, it just got a little bit too messy. So great pressure from Jero there, manages to stay alive, especially with the super. He's just chipping him down. Meow's just going insanely aggressive here, building up his super, which you love to absolutely see. The thing about Primo, even though he has no good matchups here, he just needs to be aggressive, farm that first super, and yeah, he can just start to make some good plays now with a just insane super combination right there. Manages to push up to the wall again. Meow's just running into their faces. There's nothing they can really do with just so many walls. It's just insanely hard to not get pressured deep into their spawn. So yeah, Yoshi's the last player alive here. Meow with the throw, and that's going to be an easy goal for ZETA. Again, I'm a little bit surprised. I honestly am. I didn't think the run it down was going to be as good as it was. Again, I'm interested to see whether you guys would have gone something different than the Colette personally. I just didn't see how it's going to work. I mean, he gets the kill right here, but it's just hard to always keep Primo at bay because still, once Primo gets super, he's going to kill a Colette. So hypercharge for both Joker and Lenane here. They need to use this to the advantage. So Primo's got jump, which is going to be great for him. I think Yosh maybe could have timed that a bit better, but again, great play from Meow. It's pretty hard once, of course, Primo has that super, but Primo, he lands straight onto the Colette after the jump, manages to get a kill. Joker's kind of forced to use his hypercharge here, does get a great kill onto Kenji, and now Yoshi's going to be starting to get close to his hypercharge and needs to make sure that it's going to be a good one. There goes the hypercharge. We've got the hypercharge Colette as well, but there's 50 seconds left. They need to get a team wipe. One thing I noticed really well here is that ZETA are perfectly timing their respawns. I've spoke about this in previous videos. Look, there's always somebody alive for ZETA. SK has to get a team wipe. So just that in itself, you might think, well, ZETA are dying a lot. Well, they're doing it in a timely manner, and that's why they're seeming to win here. All of them are managing to stay alive. So see here now, he's just going to go in, just die, get that respawn in. Meow's just going to stay alive for as long as possible. Jero as well. You can see Meow's buying as much time as possible, which is such a great play, which people just don't realize on the eye. Joko forces the hypercharge, which is going to get a kill here. Yoshi with the super as well. And it's looking like SK just barely have enough time. You know, me talking about how well ZETA are playing and they concede, but they have a bad matchup here, in my opinion. So they're just playing things pretty well. But now into overtime, now he starts to get a really good pressure here. Yoshi uses hyper charge, gets no advantage there. Lane unfortunately misses the super, isn't able to combine well, and now he just absolutely cleans up. Kenji is good in overtime. I mean, maybe now he's just good in overtime, but that was just so clean. I think SK could have definitely done things better. I think maybe they could have gone with a different pick from Claire. I think that would have definitely increased their chance. I don't know what they could have gone, though, to be honest. I'm interested to hear your guys' opinion. So, 2-1 to ZETA. Let's jump into the next set. All right, guys, jumping into set number 4, we have Gem Grab at last stop. So, as you can see by the bans, pretty interesting. Mo and Kenji just banned out straight away. Last stop, there's a lot of room for longer range lanes, in my opinion. So, Surge first pick, definitely, I'd say a bit optimistic in the sense, like, Surge first pick on this map, you can definitely go brawlers that won't feed Surge. You can keep Surge stacked at level 1. I guess Surge is still a brawler, which is just easily one of the best in the game right now with a hypercharge. And just everything about him is so good. He's definitely S-tier, so the pros have been loving him on Gem Grab, Brawl Ball, Hot Zone, etc. So if I was ZETA, I'd go something with a little bit of range. I'd go with maybe like an Otis, maybe like a Tara to tank gadgets. We go to Gus in the mid. We know ZETA, Jero, especially on the Gus, is very, very good. Not really a lot great into it, especially with Max being banned out. So in terms of ZETA, again, I would go something that is definitely a tank counter here because they've got the Gus, which is prone to, of course, aggression. So they're probably thinking maybe like a Gale, probably thinking Otis in my mind. I think top of my head, maybe even Lola to scout the grass, something like that. They go with a Clancy, which I completely forgot about, to be honest. Clancy is very, very good in this meta, and especially on any grassy map, you're just eventually going to get your level up. Of course, again, the pros are really going to try and stop you from getting those levels. I think Surge is decent into Clancy, though, personally. You know, it's pretty easy for Surge to get into his range. So now, again, SK got to think of brawlers that can keep the distance against Clancy as much as possible. You can't really go too much aggression here because if you go any sort of aggression, you're going to feed that Clancy pretty easily. So they're going to go with the Piper. Piper, pretty good option. A decent counter into Gus. I mean, Gus can definitely win his matchup as well. Actually, I wouldn't really say it's much of a counter on this map because Gus can get a lot of control with his shield. And, you know, he does a lot of great damage. 2 shots and a gadget, Piper's dead. So you've got to remember that Piper takes about 3-4 shots to take down Gus. So can be pretty difficult. And then they go with a Tara. So I really, really like this pick, especially on a super bushy map. Into Clancy. Clancy kind of has the same counters to Surge. Any brawler with a gadget that can get pressure and eat up a lot of ammo. You know, Clancy in that first stage, he's going to get just melted by those pets. And again, that's why Charlie used to be good in the meta. And that's why if you watch the Totem game, not the Totem game, the Humble game versus Pioneers, again, turn off his video if you don't want that interrupted. But they went Charlie instead of Tara, which I was really surprised about because Tara's are so much better than Charlie, like with their gadgets that just survive for longer. You've also got the hypercharge. Anyways, we're talking about this game. They go to Buster, so Buster's actually pretty decent. Buster is great into Tara if you didn't know because, of course, Buster can just deal with the pets easily. Also, in that kind of mid-battle, Buster has a lot more consistent damage. He's got the HP. He's also got the star power to stop him getting pulled in by Tara. So we know how good of a Buster as well now he is. You know, in ZETA's mind, they've got a lot of brawlers that they're just always been notoriously known for being really good in. Now being Buster, Jero, and Gus. So this is a good draft for ZETA for sure. So we've got a double stack lane from SK here. They're just trying to build up as much super as possible. So Clancy goes on the right. He's going to try and get some pressure down this right-hand lane. He's going to run into a Taro. Goes with a dash, which I'm not too sure about really. I mean, the gadget itself's good because the problem is with Clancy here is that he has some pretty bad matchups, so the dash actually allows you just to at least get in range, at least get a couple of shots to your super, and especially if you can dash and get a super into someone's face. That's why it's good. So again, if you're watching most of the time, the gadget that gives you double the tokens is going to be better. But if you have a tough matchup, you can swap gadget with Clancy, and that's what the pros do a lot. So already SK, they have 8 of the gems already, 9 gems. They're looking pretty good, but the problem is Meow's finally got his 2nd level. Now he's starting to get some good pressure here. Great super from Lene, but they need to pinch out now as quickly as possible here. They don't really do that the way they should have, in my opinion. They could have, I don't know, if I was probably Lene or Joker, I would have broken that wall right there, maybe with even Tara super or the Piper super, break it open, but Yoshi's going to do really good here. I think the surprising thing is as well, Yoshi's not using the extra range gadget. I forgot what it's called now. I think it's Power Surge. So he's not stuck on level 1. He's actually using Shield, which is risky, but it's going to work into his favor, especially against the Buster. It's not going to work out this time, though. ZETA is slowly starting to claw back a lot of pressure and a lot more gems. But again, they've got this Buster behind his wall. What can they do? They need to get Joker over on that side. But Joker's going to be really careful because a couple of good taps and he is dead. Fortunately, he's going to use the gadget onto Lane. Yoshi with another gadget still. And the Hypercharge managing to win his lane. Both Joker and Meow going to go down here, but this is allowing Yoshi to push up. And now Lane sneaks in with a Hypercharge Super, and that's going to be GG. I mean, I don't know. That was a rare lapse in concentration for me. It was a good play from Lane, but I think they should have easily communicated that a lot more. Of course, with Tara, that's the one thing in voice comms that you're going to be... But you need to keep an eye on. Because, of course, Tara Super is going to change the game. So, a good play from Lane, but definitely something ZETA could have avoided. Could have played a little bit more cautious, but again... Tara Hypercharge is absolutely insane. So, and Lane is known to be a good Tara, especially for the years watching him in esports. So, well played from them. I think that was a pretty scrappy game. It went back and forth. It went SK with complete control for a while. ZETA, they forced control for a while. And all it took was actually Yoshi started the play to get Buster out. And it just made things a lot more messier. And that's definitely the way that SK want things. They want things messy because ZETA, they're so good at just taking control, playing the game the way that they want to. You just need to kind of ruffle their feathers a bit. So that's definitely much better play from Meow there. But Yoshi going in already. I mean, now he on the Buster is just absolutely crazy. I'd say that gets deleted by Lana. And the great thing is that Lana is already close to his Hypercharge Super. So he's playing this perfectly, especially because last game, it took him a long time because of how well ZETA were just changing their matchups. Again, Tara does not have a good matchup into Buster. You just don't. But if you can sneak in and charge that super up great, then there we are. Hypercharge super ready. Yoshi's going to go in already. Meow with a great return super already. Again, you can see here straight away now he's going to try and force his way over to the Tara lane. This is just perfect play from them and exactly what you see from good teams. So he's going to go forward here. The double super from Lana. He's going to get a lot of good pressure. But even though he goes down, he manages to get Gus down, and Buster on the gems is exactly what ZETA don't want. I mean, it's not the end of the world because it's at least not like a mortis on the gems, but now, of course, if Yoshi gets a kill onto him like he's going to do, nearly there, it's going to be pretty disastrous. So, Joker's going to pop Hypercharge here. I'm not too sure about that. I guess he wanted to try and push up with the Hypercharge. You know, if he got a couple of taps, I guess he could have got their gem and then the gem on his side. I guess that's kind of the thinking, but just didn't really get the value that he wanted. Yoshi's going to use Hypercharge here. The other thing is that now he's actually playing the wall beautifully. If you guys didn't know, well, you should have known. Surge's Hypercharge gives you really big extended range, but up close range is quite awkward for Surge to try and make something happen. But that's just fantastic play from Yoshi right there. Great super from Lana, and SK looking fantastic in this game. They're just looking so good. I think they drafted so well around Clancy. That Tara pick definitely was a deciding factor. Great into Clancy. Can be good into Buster if you get some good supers. So that's going to be SK Gaming taking the 4th set. Let's go into the 5th. Let's now jumping into the 5th and final set right here. Everything is on the line. We know that ZETA just have to ice so many times. SK always have those short forthcoming. So as you know, I predicted that SK would just narrowly beat it. I don't know what it was. I just thought, you know, I think on paper, ZETA definitely still were a bit better, like 55% chance of winning, I would have said in my mind. But a lot of people calling it a 50-50, which I can definitely see. But I just thought for whatever reason, you know, SK, they're looking just, I don't know, Joker online is really good. You know, Yoshi, he's been playing for a long time and always getting close. Lane as well. I always thought that he was like the best player in EU, but he just could never, you know, materialize that with his teams. There was always just something going wrong. So, you know, I thought it was their time. So anyways, let's talk about the draft. So Shooting Star, I really like the Angelo pick again. Reason being, Angelo's just so good at getting pressure, fast movement speed. It's hard to kill him. Gadget to get away. You've got the water as well. So Angelo can technically play a mid as well. So he's just good for that reason. Of course, Piper's got to be just Piper. Piper's good into pretty much everything. So also the bans are pretty interesting here. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, ZETA are banning Gene and Sprout. So I just don't know why you would need to ban those brawlers in particular. That's just ZETA. I think that's just 2 wasted bans. So that's going to affect things because also ZETA have last pick. So throwers are better later on in the draft. So I just don't understand. Maybe they've seen SK are just too good with throwers, you know, Sprout, Yoshi, etc. I don't really know, to be honest. So Gene in the mid is going to be pretty good. Piper just going to do Piper things. So SK do need a mid here to go with the Carl. So I do really like Carl and Shooting Star, but you have to be of an exceptional standard. Like Carl's extremely hard for like, you know, us, like even me to pull off on shoot, especially into Gene. I've never really liked Carl into Gene, but to go with a Gus. So the reason being, Gus can get really good synergy with the Carl, with the Gus shield. Gus is just still decent into Piper. Not the best as you've seen in the previous game, but you know, decent. Also taking Gus away from Jero, good idea right there. So in terms of late picks right here, I just don't know what they can really cook up, to be honest. I mean, you like into Carl, you can't really go a throw. You've already got Gene for the mid as well. You could maybe, I mean, I did actually predict the Pearl. I didn't want to say it. I predicted that in person because it's literally a ZETA brawler, but I just don't know how I feel about the Pearl, because although Pearl can be good on game modes like this, just how is Pearl really going to get a kill against any of these brawlers? You know, Pearl's better against the squishier brawlers, better when there's bushes around, because what you can do with Pearl is build up the heat in a bush, pop your gadget, and then maybe another attack and they're dead. That's how you use Pearl perfectly. But I think in Shooting Star, you can get outranged, and I've just not really been seeing Pearl used too much. But as I've been watching a few scrims, I think you'd be surprised by some of the brawlers that are popping up in Shooting Star. Like, you're starting to see some Lola in the draft. You're seeing some Bo I've seen in drafts. Just some, like, filler brawlers. So, interesting. Let's go into the final round right here. So, I would personally... I just don't know. This is just... I would still personally go with ZETA's composition. Mainly because you've got the gene pools. Like, there's no brawlers here. Except for... Joker that can get away, but Joker is using the Pierce gadget, so it's like Jin can get a free pull, especially with the pressure. And the thing is, when the stakes are on the line so much in this last set, gene pools are just going to be so easy to come by. Like, you can just literally walk up the map. You need a brawler like that that can just change the game so easily. So I don't know about that. Got pressured straight into the ghost from Yoshi. I mean, Yoshi is just turning up today. Here comes the Ghost Shield synergy right here. Lenane on the call as well. If you don't, I mean, I've just been glazing Lenane the whole time. Doesn't get pulled there, unfortunately, but his call, I literally remember from like 4 or 5 years ago. He used to terrorize me on call. So to this day, he's just absolutely insane, I guess. You can just... that's the one thing that's made a difference with SK, I think. I mean, Lenane's going to get pinched here. Does actually manage to stay alive. I think Yoshi, because he built up to his ghost, they didn't want to get tapped up right there. So the gadget just gets some great pressure there. Yoshi just tap him, but a good kill from ZETA there, managing to snatch the lead. I forgot what I was going to say now. I think the bro was just waffling way too much. Oh yeah, the good thing that I was going to say about SK is that now, you know, they're really catering to Lenane's needs. You know, he's one of the best aggressive brawlers in the players in the game, but still, 10 seconds left. Let's stop waffling. 10 seconds. We've got ZETA pushing back. This is insanely close. We've still got a Joker gadget right here. Here comes the Carl Super. He's going to gadget into the corner, and they managed to get Meow and the blue star, and that was just absolutely insane. Insane. And one thing that blew my mind, right, about this is that, like, I couldn't see this coming, but Patchy, for example, who's on LG, he was sitting next to me. He knew exactly what they were doing. They knew they could go in. Any of them could die, I think pretty much like the Carl. And as long as they traded out Meow, they'll be winning. So I guess that was exactly SK's strategy right there. Some people would have said it was fluke, but those brief calculations in game to know who to kill, what you need to do, that's going to win you the games. And that was the difference right there. So I think that was calculated. I don't think that time it was luck from SK. That was just the ice they need. And when you clutch those situations, that can really swing the momentum your way. And those are the moments that you need on LAN, because playing on LAN is so much different than monthly finals, so much different than scrims. Just the level is a lot worse because there's just so much pressure. You can't play at your maximum peak. And that, I mean, the players that can do that are, of course, the best ones. They don't make any mistakes. So, of course, ZETA, they're always known for just being quote-unquote robots because they just don't make mistakes. Crazy Raccoon. They just don't make mistakes because pressure doesn't make them fold. So, I mean, SK are on the back foot quite a lot inside of this game. Gerald's already got his hype charge, so he's been tapping like crazy here. Just get another tap onto Joker, another tap onto Joker. Everyone is low, so time for ZETA to try and push forward here. Really well-timed gadget super from Yoshi here. We get the trade as well, so that's such a good trade from SK. We've got the blue star as well, so straight away I'm thinking, well, SK, they just need one kill here. They've got blue star. Meow misses pull as well, and that is just a horrible pull. Horrible, because, I mean, of course, it's hit or miss, right? But he needed to use that when he knew he was absolutely going to get it, because now Gene takes a long time to get pulled. There's no pressure on the side of ZETA. There's no gadgets, there's nothing. So Lenane with a gadget into the corner. He's getting them forced into a bad position. Yoshi pushing up. Joker trying to get some chip shots right here. Now he's going to pop gadget. He's going to go for Lenane, but he just gets sucked into trying to get the kill. And SK managed to clutch things up and win that game. Absolute goosebumps right there. I mean, the way that Yoshi celebrated, like literally I'm getting goosebumps right now watching this again, and I'm not even an SK fan, so imagine in the arena it was just so hype. SK fans were so loud. There was hardly any ZETA fans in the crowd. You can see how much it means to them. I mean, that's a tournament deciding win. ZETA were pretty much neck and necks in my mind, the favorites. Like, they were on paper the favorites still, Crazy Raccoon and ZETA. And SK caused an upset, and that's exactly what they need. This is the type of run you need to make. If you want to make history, if you want to be a world champion, you need to win these games. I mean, in my mind, I don't know about Naoi's positioning. Personally, I would have just gone back into the corner, because you can just look how close this is right here. Joker gets the kill. But from what I noticed, Joker actually used a Pierce gadget in the open. So then he actually had no pressure here. Maybe now he thought he had a gadget. It then just goes up. And I really thought he could have just gone back into the corner and it would have been okay. But I guess things just happen. He at the moment, intensity. He still played well the whole tournament. Anyways, I'm waffling too much. That's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to tune in for day number 3. I've already done predictions. Make sure to watch that. Yeah, see you guys next time.